The Glock 19x had the valuable new contract within its crosshairs. Almost. The XM17 modular handgun system competition that was to pick the next U.S. military standard sidearm and replace the Beretta M9 pistol and Sig Sauer M11 initially favored the Glock 19x based on its performance in trials. It made the finals but couldn't bring home the gold. Let's take a look at how the trials shook out and why the Glock lost to the militarized version of the Sig Sauer P320. Sometimes second place is just not good enough. The Glock 19x almost won the XM17 modular handgun system competition to replace the Beretta M9. Glock was so close that the famous Austrian gunmaker filed a complaint with the U.S. government to protest the decision that awarded the contract to Sig Sauer. The government said the Sig entrance, military versions of the P320 pistol, came in cheaper than the Glock proposal. Sig Sauer also had an ammunition partnership with Winchester that Glock didn't have. Sig submitted 2 models for testing, and Glock entered only its full-size version. Law enforcement chooses Glock. If you judged Glock just on how many law enforcement agencies around the world use one of its models, the company would have won the award. In the U.S. alone, Glocks have proliferated mightily and are used by the majority of police departments around the country. An estimated 65% of local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies have adopted some form of the Glock pistol. This includes the FBI, Customs and Border Protection, and the Secret Service. Civilians and military prefer Glock too. The Glock 19x is also popular with civilians even though it lost the XM modular handgun system bid. As soon as it was released to the public in 2018, it sold 100,000 pistols in less than 6 months. Even though Sig won the trials, Glock is still widespread in the U.S. military. In September 2021, the Army awarded a 5-year, $15 million contract to Glock for various firearms, spare mags, and spare parts. Glock remains widespread in various Special Operations Forces units. Let's now take a look at what makes the Glock 19x special and why it came up short against the Sig Sauer M17 M18. Glock 19x brings a lot to the table. The Glock 19x is Glock's first crossover pistol. It adds the full-size Glock 17 polymer frame to the smaller Glock 19 all-metal slide. The 19x has ambidextrous controls, and the company lauds its excellent accuracy due to the Glock Marksman barrel, a polygonally rifled barrel. The NPVD slide coating keeps the corrosion down to a minimum. It's coyote-colored rather than the classic black that Glock is known for. The Glock 19x comes standard with 17-round mags. It can be optionally loaded with 19, 24, 31, or even 33-round mags. The Glock 19x has 3 different backstrap sizes, small, medium, and large, depending on the shooter's hand size. It weighs around 31 ounces loaded. The barrel length is a hair over 4 inches, and the overall length is 7.4 inches. Glocks are everywhere. Austrian-made Glocks are ubiquitous in the world of firearms. Numerous police forces in the U.S. carry some version. It's popular with civilian enthusiasts, and unfortunately it's commonly possessed by criminals and gangs as well. Reviewers are happy. 1945 firearm reviewer Richard Douglas is enthusiastic about the 19x. Accuracy is good, as is par for the course for Glocks. Pinging targets at 25 yards is no issue, and groupings tighten up significantly at less than 15 yards. But you can still be pretty bang on at longer ranges if you're a good shot. Or maybe it's just my red dot. I mostly shoot at less than 15 yards to drill for concealed carry situations, and the 19x is great for that, he says. Why the U.S. Army passed on the Glock 19x. But the Army disagreed, and the why matters. First, Glock may have made a mistake in not creating a new model like some other entrants in the trials. Second, the Glock 19x is not truly a modular gun. Third, it doesn't have a manual safety, and you need to squeeze the trigger before you take it apart. The Army had to think about hundreds of thousands of pistols going to personnel that maybe weren't exactly trained like Special Operations Forces, so any safety feature had to be scrutinized to reduce the chance of an accidental discharge. A number of features. Most Glock polymer-framed pistols operate the same, and this favored military personnel who were already familiar with the brand and had shot it before. The Glock 19x has ambidextrous controls, especially important for the slide release. It had the Glock Marksman barrel, a polygonally rifled barrel. The mags are versatile and can be loaded 19, 24, 31, or 33 rounds. There are 3 backstraps to account for hand size differences. The barrel length is 4.02 inches and overall length is 7.44 inches. It weighs 24.83 ounces unloaded, which makes it lighter than other competition entrants. Glock protests the award to Sig Sauer. The Army finally went with the Sig Sauer M17 and M18. Then Glock filed a protest in 2017 because it believed the 19X was not fully evaluated. The U.S. Government Accountability Office released a 17-page report about the criteria for the final ruling against Sig and Glock. Both tested in a similar fashion on performance, but the main issue was cost. At nearly $170 million, Sig Sauer came in cheaper than Glock's bid of $272 million. The Sig Sauer also had license rights to ammunition in a partnership with Winchester and an outstanding ammo production plan. Glock fought hard for the contract, but price, perceived safety issues, and lack of modularity did them in. But like many gun manufacturers who lost the competition, gun sales of the new Glock 19x boomed after it was released to the public. After all, what firearms enthusiast doesn't want a Glock meant to serve in the U.S. military? After Glock filed a complaint after losing the initial competition, the Government Accountability Office did a head-to-head test between the Glock 19x and the Sig Sauer M17-18 for a final determination. The Sig model scored outstanding in initial reliability, outstanding in ammunition, outstanding in 3 categories of license rights, and outstanding in 3 aspects of manufacturing, including ammunition. The 19X was outstanding in initial reliability, only acceptable in warfighter ergonomics, and marginal in ammunition licensing. So the deciding factors were ammunition licensing, price, and ergonomics. Sig Sauer was smart to have the ammunition partnership with Winchester, and Glock took the silver medal, but in consolation got a pistol that is still popular in the civilian market. Our review. We have here a hybrid pistol, basically a Glock 19 slide on a Glock 17 frame. Why in the world would they want to do that? Well, there are a couple of reasons, as we see it. The first is that the shorter barrel, taller frame is becoming more popular. Look at almost any major pistol maker's line, and you'll see guns with shorter barrels, longer frames. Heck, even our Springfield Armory XDM 45 compact 3.8-inch barrel came with a couple of 13-round mags. Talk about a longer frame to hold on to. This 19X is certainly that. The other reason is the more important one. Although Sig Sauer won the contract with their M17 9mm and M18 compact version, the Glock did very well in the military trials, so Glock decided to sell the same gun they'd submitted for testing, minus the manual thumb safety, to the public. So in January 2018, the 19X was introduced to the shooting world. To some shooters, the self-acknowledged Glock haters, this pistol presents somewhat of a problem. It isn't made like the standard black Glock blocks they had grown to dislike over the years. This Glock is built a little differently than its stablemates. Here are some differences. It's a true Gen 5. The slide front is beveled to aid in reholstering. As mentioned, it uses the shorter 19 slide mated to the longer 17 frame, Glock's first hybrid pistol. The trigger pull is generally lighter than the standard 19. The cutout at the bottom of the mag well is gone. This pistol sports a lanyard loop. Night sights are standard. And the most obvious difference is the color, coyote tan. These differences matter a lot to many shooters, while others don't care much. As we discovered earlier, if it says Glock on the gun, for many shooters, that's all they need to see. We try to take a slightly more unbiased approach to this pistol. We see its usefulness in a competitive shooter's range bag or a police officer's holster. Also, we don't see it having much use as a concealed carry gun due to its longer frame, but we suppose that if the carrier is taller, it might work. The Glock 19X Marksman Barrel. The 19X has some novel characteristics, one of which is a barrel designed specifically for marksmanship. The barrel has a different rifling pattern from the usual Glock rifling traditionally used in the company's handguns. Since the 19X demonstrated remarkable accuracy for a rifle with a polymer frame, it is safe to say that the improved polygonal rifling is a significant upgrade over the older design. Glock 19X Mag. If you want to add the Glock that the Army tried to your collection, by all means go for it, if you can afford it. It's a heck of a shooter. It's not cheap, but what quality item is? We have not drunk the Kool-Aid from Austria, so we are not a do-or-die Glockoid, but we see some objective usefulness to this pistol. First, it carries a whole lot of 9mm. You get 2 19-round extended mags plus a 17-rounder. You'll want to buy your ammo in bulk because filling up just what Glock sends with the gun will take more than a 50-round box. 19 plus 19 plus 17 equals 55, we believe. If you carry this gun concealed and take all 3 mags with you, you would be pretty well covered in the ammo department. 1 17-rounder on the left and 2 19-rounders on the right. All 3 are only marked for 17, but Glock thinks you can figure out that the longer mags are +2. Note the finger extensions on the 19 rounders. These really give you something to hang on to, but don't help much in the concealment department. Glock 19x trigger. Triggers have always been a problem with Glock guns. It does what it's supposed to, but it's nothing special. They developed a market for ghost triggers. As a Gen 5, it has Glock's new trigger design, which is, in our opinion, a significant improvement over previous iterations. So we won't be upgrading to a different trigger anytime soon. There's not much difference, but it's cleaner and has less take-up and draw than before. Glock's Gen 5 trigger is a major upgrade over previous models since the company redesigned nearly every part of the trigger assembly. This includes the trigger bar, plunger, spring assembly, and locking block. While they can't compare to the precision of a ghost trigger, there's certainly an improvement over the old mushy sproing that many shooters had to learn to live with. Glock 19x ergonomics. For a more secure and comfortable grip, the finger grooves of this handgun have been smoothed out. The slide stop lever may be used with either the shooter's left or right hand. It is simple to identify and make use of the features. The Glock 19x has a manageable recoil, a crisp trigger, and an ergonomic design that makes it comfortable for shooters of all hand sizes. Shooting performance. We shot a few different 9mm loads through the 19x. We put some Blazer 115 grain FMJ and some Winchester White Box 115s through the gun with decent results. Plus, we even tried our do-it-all 9mm hand load of a 124 grain Lee round nose cast bullet over 4.0 grains of long shot with not so bad results. Yes, we shot cast bullets through a poly rifled barrel and the earth didn't explode. The 19x shot at least as well as we did. The results were average, about 2 inches at 15 yards and 3 at 25. I state right here that I am not the best shooter in our team, but will state with no trepidation that the 19x is more accurate than I am. Also, I don't own a ransom rest, but I try to sandbag my groups from my backyard bench to do my best. My eyes are almost 70 years old, OEM, and with bifocals sometimes do not deliver the best groups from whatever pistol I'm shooting. Suffice it to say that the new Glock Marksman barrel will do all and more than it's been asked to do. The 19x is an accurate gun. We wouldn't be afraid to go after a small game with it, given the right load that's properly zeroed. Wrap up, is the Glock 19x a good gun? Love them or hate them, Glocks are here to stay. If you need a very high-capacity 9mm Glock, give the 19x a hard look. It is expensive, but we think it's worth it, and that coming from some Glock Kool-Aid-free guys. As always, please leave comments about what you think about the Glock 19x below. We can only advance the dialogue. We take a neutral position, owning only one, but others out there have opinions. Let's hear them. As always, keep shooting and stay safe. That's all for this video, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you another time.